What's up, guys? Welcome to Echoing Theology. I am extremely excited to have a very special guest on our podcast here today, Miranda Perkins. Hi, Miranda.
Hi, Dale.
How are you today?
I'm absolutely spectacular. I'm having a real fun day today. Doing great.
Good, good. I'm sure you're really, really busy. I'm not going to tell them where you are right now because I'm hoping that you can tell everybody where you are. But
Mm.
yeah, as we get going on this podcast here. As you may know, you are our first guest, so I am extremely excited to have you. Um, Guys, this is one of my best friends from Echo, so we'll get to know Miranda a little bit. Um, so just kind of giving a little background on this podcast after discerning several months of some way to communicate with our Echo cohorts, rather, I figured this might be a good way to explore what Echo is for our future Echoes. As you know, the Echo 21 class just did their interviews. And if I'm not mistaken, today is the first day in which they're actually starting to hear back. So
Mm. Very excited for that.
so fingers crossed for all of them, praying for all of them. Um, so yeah, I think this might be a good platform in which we can express what Echo is and kind of give more of an inside of what it is without revealing all of the uh, wonders of Echo and Echo Summer, things of that sort. So great. Yeah.
I have a question.
What is that?
Did Scott Boyle put you up to this, or is this your idea?
He did not. This is my idea. I didn't even ask Scott for permission. So
Oh, we're just going buck wild.
we're just
Like
going
it.
in with this. They if they ask me not to, I won't. But I
Okay.
don't see a reason why they would not. But that's a good question. I appreciate that you're asking about Scott. So we love Scott. We're going to talk about Scott here a little
We
bit.
love Scott.
We
It's
love
easier to
Scott.
ask forgiveness than it is to ask permission.
Exactly. All right, awesome. So Miranda, if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, my name is Miranda Perkins. I am from North Central Indiana. I love it. I love the Indianapolis area. I went to a tiny school called St. Mary of the Woods College, Go Palms. And I studied studio art in my undergrad. I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a runner, I'm a coffee addict, and a beagle owner and lover. Um, what other titles do I possess? Um, I also like doing cartwheels and walking around barefoot. These are other hobbies I have. I'm placed in the Diocese of Knoxville, and I really enjoy my placement. Like it gives me a ton of different types of opportunities to work in different types of youth ministry and faith formation. I work at Our Lady of Fatima, which is in Alcoa, Tennessee. It's absolutely delightful. I love it. I'm super blessed to be where I'm at, doing what I'm doing. And yeah, I love living in the mountains. It's a fun change from the flatness of Indiana, although I do miss the Midwest. Um, yeah, that's my short bio. Is that good?
Yeah, that's great. No, that's awesome. Also, just since we're talking about people in Echo, you are currently placed in somebody's specific home parish. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
whose home parish would that be?
Yes, so I have the massive honor and pleasure of working at the home parish of uh, none other than Dr. Timothy O'Malley, who will be here for Easter, in case you were curious. We will be on the lookout for Tim O'Malley around Easter time. Very excited. But yeah, we love East Tennessee.
Awesome.
And so does he.
And we also love Dr. Tim O'Malley as well, very much. Wonderful
Yes, we
class,
do.
wonderful class. Um,
Mhm.
no, awesome. So that's kind of the work that that's where your placement is in Echo. Um, so kind of before diving a little deeper into that, how did you even find out about Echo in the first place?
That's a great question. I decided that I wanted to study, like I wanted, like I loved studying art. I loved it. I enjoyed it. But I decided that I wanted my future to be working for the church pretty early on in college. Like it was halfway through my sophomore year that I decided, hey, theology is really where my heart's at. Like I do feel the Lord pulling me in a particular way, and I do want to study theology. I do want to get my master's in some sort of ministerial degree in some sorts. But I don't want to transfer. Like I knew I needed to stay in Terre Haute at the time. And so I knew I wanted to get my master's. And when I was looking, I wasn't going to look at Notre Dame at all, like flat out. I just decided, I'm like, this is going to be too expensive. This is too prestigious for me. Like, no way I can get in. Like, I'm not that great, I'm sure. But I had a friend who was a student at Notre Dame. And when he learned that I was looking into master's programs, he was like, oh, you have to look at Notre Dame because it'd be so much fun to have you on campus. And all of our professors are so great. You'd love it. All of the things. And that's when I discovered that their programs are free. And that's really cool. And so there were a handful of different programs that I was looking at, including Echo. I was actually looking into their MDiv program. I really wanted their MDiv program. Like when I thought about Echo, I didn't like the fact that I wouldn't be in Indiana anymore. Like I liked the idea that you had to give over your will a little bit. And I liked the amount of surprise that was there. But I knew my mother wanted me at home, or she wanted me close, and South Bend isn't far from home. And so the idea of leaving would have been like that was difficult, even though I found it attractive in a way. Um, and yeah, I remember I went to NCYC the fall of my junior year in college as an adult chaperone for my home parish, and I was, I was grad school shopping because there's a lot of Catholic universities there,
Sure.
and I was talking to folks from like Holy Cross, and I'm like, do you guys know who I can talk to about Notre Dame's MDiv program? That's what I want to talk about. They're like, well, I don't know about the MDiv, but Scott Boyle is here, and he's
Scott Boyle's
representing
everywhere, isn't he? Oh,
Exactly. He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
he
But it's like
bilocates everywhere, guys.
But they're like, yeah, Scott might be able to tell you something about the MDiv. Like he's at Notre Dame and he's a higher up. He can tell you things, I'm sure. And so I walk over to the Echo booth and I'm like, Scott, somebody told me that you can tell me things about the MDiv. And he was like, well, I'm here to talk about Echo. What do you want to know about the MDiv? And I'm like, all the things. And so I was like, I want to know about this. I'm like, this is kind of what I'm looking for from ministry degree. I'm like, and he's like, well, what do you want to do in ministry? And I was like, well, I'm not totally sure what I wanted to do in ministry. I just know that I want to work for the church. I know I want to serve the church. I want to give my will over to the church. And I want to do that and serve God. And I think that in the MDiv program, I can do that. And he's like, actually, I really think you're describing Echo. It's like, I really think that this might be a good program for you. And I was like, no, I'm pretty dead set. I'm pretty dead set on the MDiv. Please just tell me about the MDiv. And he was like, can I get your email? And I was like, sure, I'll give you my email. And he's like, I'll send you more program information. I was like, perfect. And then he only emailed me about Echo. And again, I wasn't going to apply. I started my applications, I took the GRE, and I wasn't going to apply to Echo at all. I think I was only going to apply to the MDiv, and if I didn't get in, I was just going to do something else. I wasn't going to pursue a degree quite yet. But then I had a dear friend who was like, hey, you need to apply for Echo. He's like, I really think you'd be a great fit for Echo. I was like, fine. So I did. So begrudgingly, I'm here.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're here. Obviously, because we're both here. So I guess maybe what was that application process like for you once you had decided to actually apply to Echo? What was that experience like?
It was good. I really enjoyed the reflection questions that they had. Like I loved the type of essay that they had you write. Because it wasn't normal. Like they wanted to know your heart a little bit. They wanted to know like how you view your sense of vocation in a way. And I really appreciated that. Like I just like when I sat down to write it, I actually sat down in adoration for a while and I journaled and I like asked the Lord, I'm like, how have you been calling me my whole life? And I enjoyed that. I found the application process to be very centering on my relationship with Christ. And I'm sitting here, I'm like looking at a crucifix. There's a crucifix in this part of my room. So if I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm looking at him.
I'd rather you be looking at Jesus than us. So,
but yeah, so I liked that a lot. Yeah, So I guess that's my only thoughts on the actual application process itself. So I liked writing the essay a lot. And it wasn't that bad.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, the essay questions were good. If I'm not mistaken, last year there were a couple different options for the essay question, like
Mhm.
maybe one or two. To my understanding, this year it was like everybody had to rate kind of on the same thing. Um,
Okay.
but I could be wrong. I think that's what Audrey had maybe mentioned to me. But
Mm.
I can't remember now because
Yeah. My memory is silly. I don't remember a single thing.
that's okay. That's okay. We got in, so that's
We're
what we care
here.
about. We're here.
Whatever I wrote, it worked.
So, yeah, so if you can just tell us just a little bit more about what do you do in your parish? Because Echo is like we all do different types of things, and we're going to get into community, but I know that your community members all have different positions at different types of placements. So, with you being at a parish, Miranda, what types of ministries are your hands in right now? How many cookie jars do you have your hands in right now?
Currently, not too many cookie jars, though I've been in a handful of different cookie jars over the course of the year. My biggest role here is our middle school ministry. And at the beginning of the year, like I started very early on, like I started teaching with them, and eventually we split our ministry because we do confirmation for our sixth graders in the Diocese of Knoxville. And so my role was taking those kids that have already been confirmed or are not ready to be confirmed yet, and I was just gonna like teach them about the Eucharist, have a good little time. Um, but because of that, I had to like I was kind of soloing it a little bit, which was really nice. Like I actually got to like be a youth minister a little bit while my mentor was in a different area, like doing confirmation classes. Um, and so that's been my biggest role here, and that's been one of the greatest delights that I've had. I also do sacramental catechesis for um, our first communion classes, and that includes like our second graders as well as like our students that have missed it due to COVID. And so I teach our older kids sacramental catechesis, which is funsies. I've dabbled in a handful of adult ministries, including some music ministry things, as well as like book studies, Bible studies, and yeah, where we have a lot of discussion on like catechist formation that I'm pretty involved in here. But yeah, that's kind of what I do a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's a great synopsis of the work that you do. I mean, we're doing work all the time, right? So keeping a good summary of that is certainly a smart idea.
Mhm.
Because I know we do a lot. Um, I know for me when I first got here, I started as shredder boy, and I would just shred
Uh-huh.
papers. And now we've kind of elevated ourselves to other things. So it's good to know that you have surpassed Shredder Boy, if you will. So
Yes.
um,
Not
that's
Shredder
really good
Boy.
to know.
That's
Um,
the Shredder Girl to you, Shredder Woman to you,
oh,
Dan.
sorry, Shredder Woman. I'm trying to think of a word that would like. Yeah, I can't really think of a word that would start with L or W for shredding and things of that sort. But recycling starts with an
Um,
R, so no, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. That's okay. It'll come to us at like 2 in the morning or something, I'm sure.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, and you can make it the title of this podcast. I think that'd be
Yes.
funny.
Title of the podcast, definitely title of the episode.
Hmm.
Awesome. So also part of Echo is community life, right?
Hmm.
So you live with two very fun individuals
Hmm.
within Echo. So how is that community life for you? What does that look like for your community? Because every community is very different in Echo.
Hmm. I love the community that I live with. I get to live with Janet and Lizzie, and they are some of the biggest delights of my life. I don't know how I'd survive in Knoxville without them. Community life is so fun. It's been very fun to work out. Like, what do community groceries look like? Or how do we like doing the dishes? And how do we each other like to do the dishes? And how can we all figure out something that works for us? And like having those discussions have brought me an immense amount of joy for absolutely no reason. Like, we're literally talking about like, how are we going to organize the fridge? And I'm absolutely delighted to just meld my life with theirs. Um, I think Janet and Lizzie are like very Like they're very poetic individuals. They're very articulate individuals, and they're very intentional people. And so I just really have found delight in getting to live with them and experience them and learn them. Community life is fun because all of you guys are experiencing a massive transition as you're entering your placements. Like moving to Knoxville was really difficult for me. Like I found myself very stressed and overwhelmed with like all the things. And that made the idea of community life so appetizing because that's what we need. Like we need stability in our community to handle a transition. But because I was stressed with everything and I'm still trying to learn these women, it made community life more difficult. But eventually, I don't know, just through a certain openness to the Holy Spirit and allowing the Lord to make one another vulnerable in his own good time, made community life just become sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. But I'm not going to lie, it was difficult at first. It was very difficult at first, but I think Echo does a really good job at placing us with people who will both like encourage us and challenge us and delight us in very particular ways. Like I don't know exactly what criteria they look at to decide that kind of thing, but I do think that they do a good job. At least I feel like they did a good job with me and the girls. At least I feel particularly blessed with how I've been given these two wonderful women. Yeah, like we all have very similar interests, though with different like emphases in a sense. Like we'll go for a hike and Lizzie can identify every bird sound we hear. And Janet's getting very excited when we see mushrooms. And I'm just having a really fun time, like putting my hands in mud. And so we have a very good time together, even though our interests are they're overlapping but not the same. So I get to learn from them both in a lot of different fun and like really engaging ways. Yeah, it's fun. I love my community. I don't know if that totally answers. Like, I feel like asking what is community life is like a really big question, or it can be, but I hope that answers in a sense. Like, I just delight in it. I love them.
Yeah, no, it definitely answers, and you're absolutely right. Asking that question of what is community life like is going to be different for every community, and it's a very overarching question that really can't be summarized in a short period, right? So,
Mhm.
um, good, good, good. Yeah, I can certainly see you guys all hiking. I mean, you've sent us photos of you guys hiking, and I can certainly
Mhm.
like picture you playing in the mud, things like that. So
Uh,
it makes sense. Very different personalities, but like similar interests, and you guys express those joys in different ways. So,
Mhm.
but it's all joy from the Lord, which is a gift. So,
Mhm.
um, just a couple other questions I want to ask about Echo, and then we can move into something else if you'd like. But um, you've kind of mentioned, because Echo has its challenges, right? And but there's also joys that come with those. And so you've kind of mentioned that not this applying to Echo, but also moving away from Indiana was certainly a challenge. How did you overcome that? And have you found any joys in overcoming that challenge through being in Knoxville?
Say the question one more time for me.
So yeah, I'll try.
Um,
I'll try to summarize it better. You've kind of mentioned that a challenge in this was moving away from Indiana, right?
mhm.
Going down to Knoxville because they're not totally close to each other. Um,
It's not the worst. Like other people have much further distances to travel. Definitely not the worst, but
you
yeah.
could you could be in Salt Lake City, Utah. So
I could,
you could be in Houston, Texas,
I could
the other near the other border. Um, so how did you overcome that challenge, and have you found any joys in moving to Knoxville? I hope that summarizes it better.
yeah. Yes, it does. I think the way that I found myself overcoming those particular challenges was it was like trying to strike a balance between pulling myself out of myself as well as allowing myself rest and like learning patience. Like I struggled both with like trying to go out and like struggling to connect with new people, as well as like staying at like feeling lonely. Like it's this loneliness and being with people, and loneliness and being by myself, and like trying to um understand that. I think what helped most was allowing myself to be patient, and like allowing myself to abide in the Lord. And I feel like those words like that, I don't know if that like gives a good image, but like I was simply like, Lord, 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 abide with me, like teach me to abide in you better. Um, and for a long time that was just like very painful and uncomfortable. But I think after a while of sitting in the pain and the discomfort, you begin to like over time you feel your muscles relax, and it's joyful. But I think it just takes um, a consistency, I think, in finding that balance, but also doing the thing that makes you uncomfortable while it makes you uncomfortable. Like that's going to a young adult group, and even though things are kind of awkward, it's like I'm going to sit here and learn and try to love these people, even if I'm not immediately comfortable with them or I don't immediately connect with them. Just because I know that community is something I need. Like if I know I need this social interaction, like I'm going to be here because I'm going to be here for the next 2 years. I'm going to decide myself to commit myself to the area that I'm in, as well as knowing that it takes time to build relationships. And if things aren't immediately comfortable with new people, uh, sometimes that means you have to like sit and learn how to be by yourself a little bit. And that's super important for growth, for personal growth, as you like, like it. And being a young adult is difficult, and that's part of it. Um, yeah, and the delight has just been the learning. Like I'm seeing this payoff like now, like at this point, early or late February, early March of being in my placement. I see the payoff of all of the discomfort showing now in my relationships that I'm building, or the different hobbies that I've started here. Yeah.
Good.
I don't know if that's it. That might be it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's really, really good. I'm very happy to hear that things are going well for you there. So it just, as we've said, the next class of Echo is applying, right? So obviously they've already kind of gone through that process of applying. So now we're kind of looking at the next class, right? Potentially the 22s. Oh my goodness, right? Like we're gonna be graduating at that point. By the time they come in. But what advice would you maybe give to somebody considering Echo, or looking, or somebody who's looking at applying to Echo? Any advice?
My advice, my advice would be literally just do it. Like it takes no skin off your back to like do an application. Sit down, do it. It's a little bit of work, but it's really not that hard. Chill out, calm down, put your name in the bag. It's fine. And like trust in the Holy Spirit to like if trust that if the Holy Spirit does not want you there, that your application will just look disgusting to the Echo staff, and they're going to say this person does not need to be in Echo. They're perfectly wonderful and fine, but this is not where they're meant to be, and the Lord will make that decision for you. Any like following the Lord in any sense is giving the Lord your yes, even if the Lord actually says no. Like it's giving the Lord your yes day in, day out, and letting him decide where that yes takes you. And so if you're considering applying for Echo, I would say just do it, and the Lord will take care of it from there. But you'll never know if you don't actually just give it a chance, really. Like if you're not just open to it. Like if you think it might not be the right time, let the Lord decide that for you. Put your name in the back. Okay. And just relax. He will take care of it. He always does. Yeah, the Lord is good. And if you're considering many things, like let this be one of your many things. It's okay. I promise you that it doesn't put too much on your plate. The stress passes, time passes, and it passes all the time. And like your future will come. Your future will come. And if you're not open to exactly what the Lord wants that future to be, you'll never know if this is the future he wants you to have or not. So,
I almost said we love Matthew McConaughey, but that's not who I'm thinking of at the moment. The other guy.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf. We love Shia LaBeouf.
Catholic now.
He is Catholic and played Padre Pio. That was wonderful. I haven't seen the movie yet, so
I haven't seen it either.
I'm looking forward to. I still haven't watched his interview with Bishop Barron either, so I'm looking forward to doing that. So I'm a little bit behind on the ball, but that's okay. No, that's good. Really, really good advice. I would agree with you definitely that just kind of putting yourself out there is good. Because even going on Echo, the discernment days, like, I met you through that. And if neither of us had gotten in, or one of us hadn't gotten in, right, we still would have overlapped across things of that sort. And so I know that we have a few people who are applying now or reapplying this year, right? And then a few other people who are just applying for the first time. And so those friendships and those relationships that are made in those 4 days, I think Echo does a really good job of making it kind of like this no pressure situation. And then the interview also I didn't find to be all that stressful. Once I was in it, prepping for it, I was we were very nervous. I think most of us were very nervous. And then after we were like, oh, okay.
You just had to show up and be yourself.
So yeah, exactly. And so just being yourself is good. All right. So before we wrap up, I just want to play a really quick game with you.
I'm so
rapid fire questions. I sent you most of the documents. I did not send you this. So we love JP2. We do love JP2 here. Notice I have Benedict over here, Benedict the 16th, and
very good.
I got JP2 over
here,
good. Right there. So I'll send you a picture of the quote later. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question, and just give me your response the fastest you can. You ready?
Yes.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Nashville or Memphis?
Knoxville.
Vanilla or chocolate?
What was that?
Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Music or art? Music is a form of art. I know. I don't want people telling me that I don't know that it's. This is a hard one for her because you love art. So.
And I love music too. Oh, because I'm a Oh my gosh. I'm going art. Art. That's my
favorite gospel.
Ooh, John.
Good. The non-synoptic gospel. Hiking or fishing?
Hiking.
Augustine or Aquinas?
Augustine.
West Coast or East Coast?
East Coast.
Favorite passage?
Of the Bible, of the whole thing? Right now I'm really into Isaiah 55.
Okay. Morning or afternoon?
Morning.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
A city that you want to visit that you haven't visited yet?
Nashville. Me and the girls are planning a Nashville trip.
Cool.
I'm in there.
Jelly or peanut butter?
Peanut butter.
And texting or in-person conversations?
In-person conversations.
Okay, I love it. Most of those were really good answers. I think we'd agree on most of those. A couple of them, but that's okay. It's about you, not about me. So, in fact, it's about the Lord, right? It's about Echo, really. So,
amen.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you want to leave us with, Miranda, before we close off here?
I just hope that everybody has a blessed day and a wonderful Holy Lent, and whatever time of your life that you're listening to this fun little podcast. I just hope it's one that you can delight in. That's all.
Good. All right. Thank you, Miranda. We really appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on to Echoing Theology as we're just kind of exploring again what Echo is and kind of giving a little inside look to what that is. So Everybody, God bless. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you again next time.